Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 517 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I can't talk right now. Unique New York. Unique New York. I'm Tyler. And join me. We have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'll tell you what, man, I'm pretty nice right now. I'm feeling pretty good. And the reason why I'm feeling so pretty good is because I've been playing mostly N64 stuff this past week.
Nerd.
And I really wanted to try to put this Pikachu N64 I had gotten like about a week or two ago out of layaway at a pawn shop. And I just wanted to try to put it through its paces. I'm liking the results so far. Other than that, though, I got back to work after spending like a week off for vacation stuff. It wasn't so bad. Honestly, it wasn't so bad. A lot of the different like work stuff really wasn't as stressful and stuff. There are a bunch of other like volunteers and some other the workers are taking their little breaks and stuff, taking their vacation stuff starting this past week as well. Not too frustrating, but other than that, though, I'm getting rather excited in regards to the games that are releasing by the end of this month, particularly like Mario plus Rabbids, obviously. That Kingdom Battle stuff looks good.
Less than a week away.
I'm also waiting upon the reviews for like a Plague Tale Requiem because that's one of the games I have my Fantasy Critic League things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just that, but like two other games as well. So like three in the span of this month, and it's kind of interesting because it's like in a span of about a week or week and a half or so. I'm probably gonna know what direction I'm gonna be leading into for this stupid Fantasy
Yeah.
Critic stuff. But yeah, it's been pretty nice. How about yourself, Tyler? How have you been doing?
I'm doing okay, clanging and banging as always. Kind of same as you. It's the calm before the storm for
Hmm.
video games, yeah, because we've been talking about it. The next, it's like the last week before the next like 6 7 weeks of just an onslaught of big games come out. Like I think
Hmm.
I looked it up. I have like 11 games I want to play. That I like for sure want to play between
Right,
now and the end of the year, or like between the 18th of October to the 13th of December. I think there's
right.
11 games that for sure I want to play. Then there's a few that I'm like, I'm waiting on reviews on. So it's like, fuck. I don't know where I'm gonna have the time to play all these games. So yeah, it's definitely yeah, next week's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a good time. Got Plague Tale Requiem and um, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. So I don't know. Like I don't even know how like two of the probably two of the biggest games for me this year um, coming out within 2 days of each other. So that's pretty fucking crazy. I don't know. I don't know how I'm gonna um, manage the time on this shit. I'm gonna have to pick one between the two to start before and play through those. And then it's like, well, then you look at Friday on the 21st. It's like new Tales from the Borderland. That's a maybe for me. I feel like that's gonna have to have really good reviews for me when I want to play it, though. Like Gotham Knights, it's a definite maybe for me. What was the other games? Oh, there's Persona 5. That's gonna be down the line for me. And then what was the other game we were talking? Oh, it's Ghostbusters. I'm like, fuck. The reviews have been
Hmm.
slowly coming out for that, and they've been pretty good. And I'm like, God damn it, it's only $40. Do I want to play it? Maybe I wait till like maybe I can get it for like 20 or something for Black Friday. I don't know, Gables. First
Yeah,
world
man.
problems.
That's the thing, though. I'm kind of waiting for Black Friday thing this year in general because I'm kind of wanting to see what games released this year have are going to be steeply discounted and stuff. I'm definitely looking for the physical forms of a lot of that stuff. I've been going over a lot in regards to the whole internet situation in regards to like not just data cap stuff, but also just trying to figure out things to save things here and there. But one thing I want to try to go for and aim for is maybe less of like big download stuff
Yeah,
in general, because you know how these current gen games now, where it's like over 100 gigs and stuff just to download like a full on game, not counting certain updates or like certain
yeah.
like expansion stuff. But yeah, I'm fairly excited to see what will come out for sale by then. But that's like a month from now. But yeah, I'm mostly excited to see how well Plague Tale Requiem does, and like Bayonetta 3, obviously, and like Mario plus Rabbids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously like the other games and stuff, maybe hit or miss or something. But as far as game purchases goes and stuff, I'm gonna look to see how the finances are. But I know for sure November. But if I do have some extra stuff, maybe I'll find something. Never know. But I've been quite happy with what I've been playing so far.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been in that holding pattern, just waiting for. I don't really want to start anything. Don't really want to play much. I did play a game today though. But definitely, it's just definitely a waiting till then. But I forgot to mention this last week. But we didn't talk about the Mario trailer or the new Pokemon 15-minute video we did. And that's because Gables and I live reacted to them.
Yes, we did.
So if you listened to us or watched us last week, or if you were wanting to hear our thoughts on those, you go back and look at our if you're an audio listener, you only listen to us on audio. Please go to our YouTube channel. It's in the show description, along with all of our other links to a lot of other socials and stuff like that. And go there and click on that subscribe button, ring that bell, hit the likes, all the things that everybody else tells you to do. And you can see we did a full live react to the Mario trailer, and then Gables and I watched Gables already watched it, but he watched it with me as I watched for the first time the Pokemon trailer, and then we kind of did a whole full breakdown. But if you're wanting to hear more about that, please go check those out and hit that like while you're at it. But yeah, Gables, I did want to talk about the Mario movie.
Okay.
I feel like Nintendo is missing the boat here on something that would just generate, I don't want to say, billions, but let's just say trillions, possibly even. We all remember one of the greatest Mario games ever to be made. And Gables, as soon as you already know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
The super famous Super Nintendo game, Mario is Missing.
Okay.
Why isn't there a spin-off game about Mario's ass called Mario's Ass is Missing?
Okay. Was not thinking about this direction, but
instead of traveling through time to find Mario, we travel between games to figure out where in that timeline did he lose his ass.
Oh my god, dude. Could you just imagine? I mean, Tyler, granted, did you ever play Mario was Missing back in the day?
Unfortunately, I rented it. Yes, it was very bad.
Yeah, you and I are the same boat. I've also rented it back in the day as well. And just imagine this. Instead of going through the historical events, like you were just stating, going through the random series of events or something like that in order to try to find Mario's ass, having to go to a water world and surf on a surfboard in order to try to collect certain items to go to a specific time point that you needed to go to. And yes, listeners, that's something you would do inside this game. Mario was Missing.
Did Angry Video Game Nerd do a video on this one? I feel like he had to, because if not,
yes, he has. I think it was for the NES Impossible SNES copies. I think he did both of them. Now that I think about it, but as a kid back in the day and stuff. Playing that game in general, trying to not only understand a lot of the historical stuff, but then having to do it over and over again, only for Bowser to somehow escape a split second before because I had missed one particular piece of information. I wanted to try to beat that game in the span of a couple of days before returning it, and I never did, and I never wanted to run it again after that.
Okay, I didn't even get that far because I was too dumb of a kid to figure out how where do these things in the timeline match up. I'm like, okay, I don't feel like these are for kids, and I don't think most kids know these things. But okay, that game was trash. It's a bad game. But I mean, imagine how good that game would be, though. But think about it, Gables. Think about it. If they did that and you just traveled from game to game, figuring out what caused his ass to go missing and figure out where it went missing. That'd be fun. Like a Back to the Future style game. We get the old man from Luigi's Mansion. He builds a time machine, and then we go around from maybe when he got kidnapped in one of the Luigi's Mansion games, he lost his ass in the painting somewhere. Maybe when he got sucked inside of Bowser's mind with Cappy, maybe something went wrong there. I mean, he had an ass in that game. The screenshots prove it. So somewhere between him being sucked into Bowser and this movie trailer, he lost his ass. And we're going to get to the bottom of this. That is my goal.
Well, the clues are just littered around everywhere, aren't they?
Yes. And we're going to figure it out. Hell or high water. But Gables,
Mm-hmm.
Extra Life is coming November 5th.
Yes, it is.
I always talk about it's my least favorite day of the year. Look forward to it all year round. I'm literally getting chills just thinking about it right now. Um, and it's a great fun day. Doing it for a good cause, and it's also a miserable day, but it's all worth it because we're doing it for a good cause. If you're asking yourself what is Extra Life, it is a video game charity that's been going on since 2008. All for a girl named Tori, who sadly passed away at the age of 13 from cancer, down in Houston, Texas. So a guy named Doc Adams created this charity for her to help raise money so that like the school can have the hospital rather, could have video games to play for the kids to play and stuff like that. And then it kind of blew up into this thing that goes on between the United States and Canada, where everybody can now participate all around the world. And you can raise money for the hospital you're choosing in the United States, anyone in the United States or Canada. I picked the one in Iowa City. Gables picks one in Seattle. This is my 11th year. This is Gables' 10th year. This is I believe the 15th year overall for it. It's raised well over $100 million in its time of doing this. Like I said, we play games for 24 straight hours. You people donate and help you raise money while you do that. And there's some cool stuff you can get when you hit certain benchmarks. Like this is the new one this year. If you raise $200, you get this T-shirt. If you're listening or if you're watching us, that right there, I'm pointing at, that lights up. It's an Extra Life light, which is really cool.
Nice.
And you can like spell words on it. It's pretty cool. It's all you get like $500. You can see this if you're watching on YouTube. That little thing right there. That is my gold medal for hitting 1,000. I got 2 of those and a silver medal for hitting 5,000. So really cool thing. I've got 14, 15 T-shirts at this point of Extra Life. But yeah, it's a really cool thing that we do every year. We all get together. Hop in a party chat, bullshit for 24 straight hours, and just have a great time playing video games. And every week we do this. We talk about it. We give out some tips, and we talk about a little bit. You want eat healthy. We talked about that already. Get a good night's sleep before then. Plan ahead. Have games ready to go. Have them updated and ready to go. One of the big things I talked about last week was plan more games than you'll need. Always be ready. I say this every year to people, and I break that rule most years, where it's like I'm like, oh, okay. Like last year I talked about last year Far Cry 6 was gonna be my game of Extra Life. Played it for 2 hours. I'm like, this game is not good. And then I'm like, well, crap, that was the game that was gonna take up most of my Extra Life. So always have if you think you might be fine with these 4 or 5 games, maybe have 10 ready to go. Like I said, make sure they're downloaded, updated, ready to go, especially if they're multiplayer games. Always if you got Rocket League or Overwatch or anything like that, Fortnite, make sure you have those ready to go. And that way you're not hey, well, we're gonna hop into a game at Rocket League, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta download it, and it's it's an 80 gigabyte download. So make sure all that shit's ready to go. We talk about take breaks throughout the day. This is not a literal 24-hour marathon.
Right.
I would say the majority out of that 24 hours, I typically probably play in actuality 20 to 22 hours. I will go for a walk if it's nice enough out. You obviously got to take your dog out. You got to get up, walk around, stretch a little bit. Everybody's got to poop. Everybody poops. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, Gables, if there's anything else you could think of that you recommend for people you've obviously been doing this for a long time too.
Well, honestly, I honestly don't have anything more to contribute in regards to that stuff, but yeah, I think we pretty much covered over what we got personally.
Yeah. I mean, one thing though. Oh, if you're by yourself, just make it if you're on I don't know how it works on the PC side of things, but if you're on Xbox or PlayStation, create a party chat, make it open for people to hop in.
Yeah.
And just do I've done that a lot of years in the past, where on PlayStation you can name the party chat, and I just Extra Life party chat. It's just kind of and leave it open, and you that just kind of tells people hey, there's open spots, just hop on in and come in and bullshit with us, and kind of helps kind of makes it so more people are just You don't feel like, ooh, I don't know if I should jump in on this. Like, hey, no, everybody come on in. I always talk about you want that ringer. It's always great. You want people to be a part of your group that aren't participating in Extra Life because you have like people come in at like midnight, 11 o'clock. It's always on a Saturday. You don't want to do it on Saturday. You can do whatever you want. But, you can hop in and just bullshit with you and kind of keep you company and play some games with you. Or you play games with you. Or sometimes people just hop in and just play some games and they just hop in your party chat while they're playing games and talk to you. And that's always great. And it's like, they're not completely exhausted because they've been playing games all day and maybe they're just playing Street Fighter or something, or they jump in and like, hey, like play a game with you. Like, remember like Justin, my best friend, jumped in one year with us and a bunch of us played Friday the 13th in the middle of the night, and he stayed with Gables and I until the very end, until like 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. That cool trick Gables has been doing for the last 4 or 5 years now that I stumbled upon last year by doing. I just couldn't sleep. I was so excited. It's my Christmas, I woke up at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning my time. Gables is 2 hours behind me, and he always starts around midnight. So a little after midnight. So I jumped on about an hour before him, and I ended up getting done. Like I think it was like 2 in the morning or something like that, and it was great. Like it was definitely still tough, but not having to sit there because we always do it on daylight savings time as well. So not having to, you get up, start at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I used to, like some days, some weeks, some years I start at like 9 in the morning. And like you got to go through that whole day, and then you get to the evening, and then the sun's down now, and now it's midnight, 2 o'clock, and you got to watch the sun come up in the morning. It's just really hard. The hardest part though, the one that always, and I know it's coming, and I know it's going to be hard, and you never are prepared for it because if you start at like 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, it's like at 2 o'clock, that clock goes back an hour. And yeah, I'm not saying you play 25 hours. You can do that. I've done that in the past. Not doing that anymore, especially now. Too old, 33 years old. It's too hard. I could barely stay up till 10 o'clock on the weekend anymore. But that's just, it's a mind fuck. It really is. It is the wall. You hear about people like running marathons. Obviously we're not running marathons. Does it look like I run a marathon? No. You hear about people when in the marathon, when they're running one and they're like running that, like, was it 26Ks or something like that? I don't know. Obviously I don't know what it is. Or is it 26 miles? I don't remember. But, what's going on? I totally lost it. Oh, but like they hit that mental wall, and that every year for me is always that mental wall. That's like I might already be struggling a little bit, but it's like, boom. It's like, that is like, all right, I just like ran head first into this wall, and I don't know if I can come back from it. Yeah, it was nice last year. Like I got like basically when that hour went back, I was done. So I went to go to bed, and I didn't completely, like, I'm exhausted. It took me like a couple days to recover from Extra Life. But I didn't totally jack up my sleep schedule, and I was still able to get a solid, like, I think 5 or 6 hours of sleep in, because I've done it in the past, like I said, where you get done 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Now it's, you sleep till noon, 1 o'clock, and it's like, you got like, you only got a few hours of sleep, and then you got to somehow go back to sleep at your normal time. It just doesn't happen. So, but yeah, that's things like that. Obviously if you can't do that, but, just something I recommend for people. But Gables is the video game podcast where we talk about video games. So let's get into those. Not a lot. It's been kind of a light week for news. But I thought we'd start off here, Gables, with Overwatch 2. Okay. A lot of things going on with them. They had a really rough launch where it came out a couple weeks ago, October 4th, and so about a week and a half ago. And on October 3rd, they completely shut down the servers for Overwatch 1. The 2016 Game of the Year is dead. You can't play it anymore. It's gone forever.
That's correct.
And then they said, if you put the disc in Overwatch 1, it turns to 2, stuff like that. But it's free to play download. You can just, you don't need the disc for that to do it. And then October 4th came around, and people couldn't get into games. You had to wait forever to potentially just get in. And then the following day, it was down for essentially multiple days because of DDoS attacks. There's been a lot of balancing issues. It's because it's technically early access. And The people are upset about the battle pass. Like, I don't have a problem with battle passes. I think that's probably the best like middle ground we've had when it comes to like microtransactions and stuff. Like it's not like it's not loot boxes where it's all randomized and like they control with bullshit. Like how hard or easy, how much money you got to spend to possibly get these things. Like at least you can just like, okay, level 50, I get this. And you can spend extra money if you want to raise your levels. Every game does that, but people were. I guess the complaint was like it would take you like 68 days of playtime to unlock everything in the game, on the battle pass and like all the skins and everything that are on the battle pass. And then because they had the multiple DDoS attacks, they've had to like there's players that like a bunch of characters they had to like take out of the game for right now because of balancing issues. And then now there's an issue where a lot of technical issues, stuff like that. And now there's an issue where it is restarting people's computers because it overheats the CPU so bad that it gets to like over 100 degrees, and then the computer shuts off on its own to basically save the computer and not literally start a fire. So yeah.
Oh, and you also forgot about like one or two different things though
Okay.
because of their recommendation, their actual recommendation of like having you have your phone number on your battle, like the whole
Yes.
battle thing and stuff like that, your ID account for Activision Blizzard and stuff. There were some players that could not even play the game because of they did not
phones.
they had prepaid phones.
Yes.
So for someone like me that could potentially want to play the game, but I can't because I have a prepaid phone.
Well, you can't play it on mobile. Yeah.
Well, mobile, yeah, that's true. But at the same point, I was in the assumption though that it was for console and PC players as well.
No, it's only mobile. Like I was able to play Overwatch 2, and they don't have my phone number or anything. So
Okay.
Yeah. So so other companies do that, like Modern War or Call of Duty has the same thing, and it's a good idea. The phone thing is because a major issue with these games is like the cheating and shit like that, and like it's all unless people want to buy and have entirely different phone plans, like no one's gonna create alt accounts so they can like beat the shit out of like lower level people.
Right.
So like it's a good idea. It's just they just really bungled that's a major issue where you have a prepaid phone. If you have Cricket Wireless or something like that, you can't use it, which is fucking wild. They got rid of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of it, which is, I guess, good. But I don't know. Like I said, I don't have a major issue with that. Like obviously the fact that prepaid, like they need to fix that. But like I don't know. I think that's kind of a good middle ground because like you can kind of prevent that stuff on consoles because you pay for the online. They kind of help prevent people like with alt accounts and shit like that. But
right, the authentication or something like that in regards to entering your phone number, that's no issue that I have in that regards. I mean, it's incredibly smart on their end because they want to place the account to the player and having phone number stuff, recommendations and stuff, and authorization stuff, like how similar sites do that. I mean, that's incredibly smart with that regards. Yeah. But the issue at point, though, that some players have had and stuff is because of the lack of execution of how that was implemented, it isolated a slew of players from even signing into a specific portion to play Overwatch 2 in general, which, didn't grant them that. And it's kind of viewed as sort of like, well, terrible on Blizzard's end because it's like you had this alongside other things that should be a guaranteed thing at launch, and still it's still fucking having to go back and just having to take out or like trying to do that type of shit in general just to try to fix it. It's it's just another I don't know what's notch in the belt, another thing that, like just one more like just more bad press. Like Activision, like I mean I think Modern Warfare 2 comes out in a couple weeks. Right.
I mean that, like I bet that probably does pretty well, review wise and sales really well. But they just haven't had a win in a long time. Between them closing all the studios to go work on Call of Duty, the fact Call of Duty is taking next year off. They have obviously everything going on with the sexual assault and the culture issues. Like that's awful. I mean that's obviously the worst part of all this, but. Just sticking with the game side of things, the business side of things, it's like then we see the saving grace here with Microsoft buying them. It's like, cool, maybe they can fix this dumpster when Blizzard, was always like doing really well. They were like, they never, like, even with all the bullshit we bitch about Activision, like Blizzard was always doing super well on their own. They had the whole thing where, like, years ago it's really funny now. Remember years ago when they had at the, what was that, QuakeCon? Not QuakeCon. What's their BlizzCon? Where they announced the Diablo mobile game, and they're like, we don't want this. It's like
Diablo Immortals, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well, doesn't everybody have a cell phone? And it's like, it's funny now. It's like, well, cool, yeah, everybody has a cell phone. You won't let them play on it. So yeah, then we had Diablo Immortals come out, and people were pretty positive about that, actually. And then that just, after like a week or two, no one's talking about that, and a lot of people are frustrated.
Well, there's a reason why people are not talking about that, is because the microtransaction stuff inside of it, you had to spend at least some players had to spend at least, like, in order to get what they want, in order to progress their character, it would spend upwards of like 1,000. Some players maybe 1,000, some like $5,000 of in-game of actual real money in order to get advancements inside that game. That's why it died so quickly.
Yeah, and so what's crazy is, like, they never, like, you see this all the time where a game, like, I think like they put out things and they kind of like, they kind of overcharge a lot of things, and then like they do it on purpose to obviously maximize profits. And then they wait for the outrage, and then they kind of like, okay, well, now we're going to go down a little bit. Diablo Immortals just never changed anything. They just kind of quietly never did. And I think that's probably a pretty big reason why. I'm sure there's still a lot of people playing. Like, you hear about these, like, there's always like mobile games or PC games or free-to-play games that, like, we've never heard of or don't even think about. And they're just fucking massive. And they make $1 billion a year. And it's like, we don't think, but it's like, they just have, I mean, I don't think this is like, I don't think Diablo Immortals is that, but it could be doing really well. We just don't even know about it. But yeah, you have all that. You have, obviously, now you have this. It's, like, Blizzard is just like, everybody, like World of Warcraft, like, the developers hate the fans and the fans hate the developers there. Like, they can't get a win there. It's just wild, man. Like, like, it's crazy how, like, we see, like, EA pivot in the last 5 or 6 years, and, like, we've been, like, really positive about, I mean, it's obviously they have their issues, but you look at kind of what they've been doing, they've told you, like, change their focus on things. We're like,
it's been
the
like
EA
about half and half.
Yeah, but I mean, like, they went all in on, like, big, huge open world games and live service and free to play. And it's like, now we have, like, EA Originals, like It Takes Two won Game of the Year last year. We have Star Wars Fallen Order. We have fucking Dead Space coming out here soon. Like, they're making the next game from It Takes Two developers. Like, we're seeing,
even though like one of the major missteps from EA in recent years has been the whole Battlefield 2040 some odd.
Yeah, Battlefield. I mean, that's what I mean though. Like, I'm not giving them, like, they're not perfect at all.
Right.
But I'm like, there's at least, like, they're making positive steps in other areas where it's like, I think they, like, you see, you're like, okay, like, we can't rely on these things, because if we have, we have a couple big misses here, we're kind of fucked. Look at Ubisoft. They're kind of fucked. Like, not kind of fucked. They're not going, like, there's okay, but, like, maybe they're not okay. I don't know. But they're in just a really weird spot where it doesn't seem like they don't know what they're doing. They're just throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks, but they have zero support or push behind anything. And we just don't feel good about their products, really, except for Mario plus Rabbids. And
at the end of the day, though, it's like with Ubisoft and stuff, they pretty much stirred themselves into this back corner from a lot of their misfires with other stuff as well.
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like, all of these studios, like the big three of, like, the third parties, have kind of, like, they've backed themselves in these corners. And we're seeing EA do a pretty good job of, like, working their way out of that. And, like, they're gonna have some misses here and there. Everybody's gonna have some misses. But, like, it's kind of crazy when we look at, like, man, we're, like, feeling pretty good about EA right now. Like, they're actually, like, looking pretty good. Like, they'll be okay. Like, but it's like, I mean, it's nuts that they, like I said at the top, they killed one of the biggest new IPs of, I mean, I don't think it's hyperbolic to say, of our lifetime, an Overwatch. That game blew the fuck up. Like, remember Battleborn came out the same week, and it was
It came out the same
dead.
week. Yeah.
It was dead immediately. We liked it. I liked it quite a bit. We played a fuck ton of it. But I mean, Overwatch was just better. And I mean, we talked about it a couple years ago. Like they stopped supporting Overwatch when it was still one of the biggest games ever a few years ago to work on Overwatch 2. Delayed it multiple times. Now it comes out early access. They kill the old one to force people to go here. To like, well, because I think they found like the people they like, because like people that played the game the most were spending the least because they they played it so much, they unlocked everything, and they got earned enough in-game credit, and they built up enough that they were able just to buy the shit with the in-game currency without spending a dime. And then this is like their work, and like obviously like I don't know, it's just the whole like this just seemed unnecessary. It seemed like they killed Overwatch 1 to force people to play this one so they can make more money. And it's like, I understand it. We know that. We're not stupid. It's just like, I talk about like, it's like in politics when I was talking about, they say a lot of things without saying a lot of things, like without going out and saying them. You just got to read between the lines. And like, you don't say the quiet parts out loud. And it's like, Overwatch 2 is them saying those quiet parts out loud. It's like, they're not going out and just saying it, but they're just making it extremely obvious what they're doing. And going from 6v6 to 5v5, and it's like I play a little bit, and it's just like it's like it's just a hard game because it's like everything is it's so team based, and so like everybody's got to be different classes, everybody's got to work together and do this, like fit their roles. And it's like you can't just like hop into a game with your friends and fuck around. It's like Splatoon, I could just hop on and play Splatoon and like not talk to anybody and have a great fucking time, just go off my own corner here and spray paint in the ground, and I might not win, but hell, I'm doing really good. Or maybe I'm doing okay and we win. It's great. And this you play with like randoms, and it's like fuck, man. It's like I don't know. Like they're getting mad at me because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not very good at these games. Like I don't know. I had a lot of fun with Overwatch 1, and it's like I can just jump into a game and like not really fit a role and still have a good time. Now it's like with 5v5, now it's like you have to like fit your role. I don't know. It's just sad. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah. And then was there anything else you wanted on that one?
Really, not too much more into it because it's like with this type of issues with the launch of Overwatch 2, I mean, yeah, it is pretty blatantly obvious what they initially have intended to do, and that was to make more money in terms of what they wanted to nail to the ground, which was get rid of the other game, the original game, that was their most successful IP since World of Warcraft, in my honest opinion. Then get rid of like the old aspect of like making it so much attainable for people to get everything unlocked without having to spend a dime. Now you have people complaining that it's going to take at least 68 full days in order to unlock everything inside the damn game, because the reason why companies go and make it so incredibly hard for free-to-play games to like people to earn stuff in free-to-play games and is to go forth to force you to spend on these currencies, these battle passes, these everything else, so that way it gives you the illusion of, hey, I put some money in, now I can actually go forth and enjoy the stuff that I am and can actually entitle myself to actually enjoy inside this game. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and people, we'll talk about this. We were talking about this before about a different game. We'll talk about here a little bit later, but we're fine paying money for things. Just make it good and worth it. Don't like I'm fine handing you money over. But like when I don't know, just don't fuck me when you do it. Like make it good. But moving on here to let's talk about Bayonetta.
Okay.
So this kind of just popped up today. Helena, I believe Taylor is how you say her name, or it might be easier Helena or Helena. She was the voice actress of Bayonetta in Bayonetta 2. She put out a video. So it kind of was announced about a month or so ago that Jennifer Hale, who is fantastic voice actress, been around for a long time. She was like FemShep from Mass Effect. People don't remember. So it kind of revealed about a month or so ago that Jennifer Hale was taking over Bayonetta 3 as the voice of Bayonetta, even though like all the other voices and their languages are all keeping the same actress from before. So they said that like they couldn't fit with their schedule. They tried to negotiate stuff like that, but she was too busy. Helena was to do this. Well, Helena came out today and put out about 5 minutes worth of video explaining what happened. She said, she's like under an NDA, but she doesn't care at this point. And said that she had to go back in and audition again for her role. And she said that's not super, like, it's not that rare for it to happen because like people's voices change over time. And she said that she passed flying colors, everything was fine there, and they offered her the role, but only offered her $4,000 to play the role of Bayonetta. Obviously, that's a slap in the face, I think, probably to anybody, especially if you've done the voice in the past. She did ask everybody, to boycott the game and to donate that money instead to the money you would spend, $6 you would spend, or whatever it costs in your country, or buy the collector edition or whatever, instead to a charity. She said that, like, obviously, if you still want to buy the game, that's fine. That's what she asked. So it didn't seem like she wasn't gonna be like she wasn't mad at people if they bought the game, but just like, hey, like, I appreciate the support in this. And I was kind of created a crazy ass dialogue about this. And was it God, what was his name? What was the person she mentioned that we were talking about that was tweeting about it earlier? Kamita, I can't remember his name now.
Hideki Kamiya.
Yeah, thank you. He's like the director of the games, I believe. She said that she wrote him a letter, or had a friend help translate and write a letter in Japanese to him, and she got a written letter back from him, saying they wanted to come back, stuff like that, and that's when they offered him the $4,000. So yeah, and I think her biggest frustration was that they lied about why she wasn't a part of it, saying that she was busy, stuff like that, and like she's talking about like, I'm not rich. She's like, I can't even afford a car, things like that, and yeah, I don't know. A pretty crazy, Gables. Like we don't know how much money these voice actors make. There was that big voice actor strike that happened, I believe in 2016 or 17,
Right?
Because they were pretty upset because I think the minimum, it was like five digits was like the going salary for a lot of these like big voice actors and stuff like that. And the frustration of a lot of them was like they wouldn't even know what they were making sometimes until like either they got they started doing the script, or until sometimes if it was a newer IP, like obviously if you're making a Batman game, you're going to read the script, figure out, okay, reading the lines, okay, I'm Batman, all right, I got it. But like some games you're like a newer IP or something different. It's like you don't know what you're making until for all you're making an indie game with 5 people, and then come find out you're making, I don't know, just hypothetically here, Last of Us. It's like, well, wait, I feel like probably could have paid me a lot more than what you paid me. It's PlayStation doing this. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, what was your thoughts when you heard all this, Gables?
Well, first off, it's like, yeah, it's unfortunate that she lost her voice acting role inside of Bayonetta 3. I mean, yeah, obviously if you're offered that kind of a meager sum in that regards, $4,000 for this type of acting role, I mean, granted, in the grand scheme of the whole voice actress sort of feel for video games and stuff, yes, they tend to be paid a little less in regard, not just a little less, but like just paid less in general than what some of them should be getting paid.
Yeah.
But I will say that I am on the side where we don't know every bit of the information coming out of this stuff. We pretty much know a lot of from what she has posted on Twitter through these little 5-minute little video stuff, and saying how she contacted Kamiya, wrote a letter in like Japanese, had one of her friends help write a letter to him and stuff, and back and forth stuff. But overall, in this regards, it's like, yeah, I think it's pretty sad though that this is like another instance to where in the gaming industry where we have someone that's voiced a character for a long duration of time. She voiced Bayonetta for about 7 years. It kind of draws parallels with another series, another game, another voice actor. Obviously, David Hayter from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Highly upset he could not get the role of inside a big boss inside of Metal Gear Solid 5, where he had been voicing Solid Snake ever since the original release on PlayStation and this and that. And I heard, and yeah, there was a bunch of people back then that boycotted Metal Gear Solid 5 and this and that and stuff. And granted, yes, with this news and everything else and stuff, I kind of hope that there's like a kind of like middle ground solution or any type of positivity that comes out of this, even though, yeah, being paid less for something as significant as say like a major gaming franchise or a gaming IP like Bayonetta and stuff, that is shitty in that regards. But for Bayonetta 3, for the success of the game and stuff, I don't think it's going to really affect too much of like
No,
say like the
no.
success of the game in general, or even like the boycotting affecting too much in regards to its sales. Maybe some, but I draw parallels like Bayonetta 3 to doing a Metal Gear Solid 5, to where people were absolutely excited for Metal Gear Solid 5, even regardless of like David Hayter not voicing the main character of Solid Snake. And even though it was entirely shitty that he did not get the role, and a lot of us,
He
Metal
wasn't
Gear
even
Solid
contacted
fans,
about the role.
wasn't even contacted about the role or something like that. And I would argue that's even shittier, as opposed to her being, obviously auditioning for the part and stuff, being offered the part, her turning it down because obviously it was too low. But at the same portion, it's like, I don't think this is going to really pay too much of a factor of people's enjoyment for like Bayonetta 3 in general. I mean, Jennifer Hale, established voice actress and stuff. I did not even I couldn't even tell a difference at first. That was a different voice actor up until like Tyler, you had showed me her video in regards to the original voice actress for Bayonetta and stuff and this and that. I mean, Jennifer Hale, she does a great job in
Yeah,
that regards. But it also kind of brings the question to me, is how much she being paid just to do this role,
yeah.
in general. Is she being paid more? Is she being paid the same price as what she was going through
I,
that,
I, I would hope if you're Jennifer Hale, you're making more than $4,000 to do this. But yeah, I feel like for this, like, that is that'd be insulting, I think, to anybody, especially in that industry. If she was offered, I don't know what the going rate is, but let's just say, maybe I don't know what she made the last time, but let's say they made her, and then she did mention at the top, like, Bayonetta, the franchise, has garnered over $500 million in profit, or over $500 million
sales
before
apparently.
merch sales. Yes, just from the sales of the games alone, between Bayonetta 1, 2, and then the initial releases, and then all the, like, they just re-released it. They re-released Bayonetta 1 on the Wii U. They re-released it on 2 on the Switch with 1. They just re-released Bayonetta on all the consoles, the new consoles, for the 10th anniversary.
Yeah,
So we've seen that game get re-released several times.
absolutely.
And they kind of do get, like, voice actors a lot of times, and like even the developers and stuff, they all get the shaft where, like, I was telling you before, the show, like Last of Us Part 1, when they just put that remake out. Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson did not get any more money for that game, because they just reused their assets. So, and like when they do remasters of the game, put them out or port them years later, decades later, it's like those voice actors or the people that did the models and the and all that, they don't get repaid for it, and it's shitty. It's awful. I think they should get a percentage or something at least. Even if it's like a small percentage, like, I don't know, like a tenth of a quarter or something, per sale or $1 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you on the sense that, like, I don't think it's going to make a drastic difference. And I've seen a lot of people, like, get upset about, like, oh, well, IGN and GameSpot and all these content creators are just gonna, when the reviews come out, they're just gonna talk about it like it's normal. It's like, just like Overwatch and stuff like that. It's like, I understand what you're saying. I understand it. I do. The stuff with Blizzard and Activision, this is far different from that. I don't want to put those, like, these are apples and oranges of what we're talking about here. But I feel at the same time, though, I don't think that's really, like, it's their job to report it and cover these things. But, like, and if people individually on, like, that work for these websites or YouTube channels or whatever, if they want to talk about it, that's fine. But it's not. I don't think it's necessarily their job either to, like, like, I don't think Pierre Schneider from IGN should be going out and say, we're not going to review Bayonetta 3, Overwatch 2, or Call of Duty because of this. Like, that's not their job. Like, if they wanted to, they could. But I don't. It's not their job. That, like, their job. Like, yeah, should they cover it? Absolutely. Should this be?
In which a lot of them are covering.
And they are
like,
covering
a lot of this.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that should be. Yeah. If you want to, like, hey, if you, like, in the coverage of this mention this stuff, totally fine. But like to sit there and say like, ooh, they shouldn't like review this game because of that. I'm like, oh, okay, we're just kind of going a little crazy here. I understand like you're upset. And I think, yeah, it's bullshit. That's really, if it's true. And I mean, it's kind of hard not to believe her if she has an NDA and they can sue her over this. It's like, if she's coming out against that, like, I don't like, she doesn't really have, what does she have to gain about doing this to lie and do this? Like, she didn't start a Patreon or a GoFundMe. Like there was no financial gain in doing this.
Right.
And she probably it's probably going to blackball her from some other studios in the future.
Well, exactly the
for
point.
getting a job. So
at the same point, we're probably not going to hear too much more about this type of story and stuff unless this continues on the court, and then a lot of the details are going to be leaked inside of court documents and this and that.
Yeah,
but
I don't
speculate something.
Yeah, I feel like though, like Platinum Games and Nintendo, if this is true, they probably don't want to go to court because then we'll find out if they find out we actually did offer. Like that's finding out the truth, like matter of fact truth. Is the allegation of this is way worse than finding out that like no that's actually true. So they're probably just gonna leave this alone. And we've heard that people like they've complained a lot like if like Nintendo is publishing this game, if they're a part of this, like people are upset with like Nintendo with the voice acting for like it was like Cloud from Smash Brothers. Like they didn't get the English voice actor for the game. They got the Japanese and all the other languages, or they only got the Japanese one. They didn't get any other languages except for him. For Smash Brothers, stuff like that. So it's like, there's a frustration there. Same thing with, what's the Kingdom Heart guy?
Oh boy. Nomura?
No, the guy that's in Smash Brothers.
Oh, that's Sora.
Sora. Yeah. They didn't get, Haley Joel Osment for the game. Stuff like that. No. So, people like upset, like that major frustration, but like, hey, like I wouldn't be shocked by this because of the same people that were, cheap about this. So I don't know. Like I said, we're still gonna buy it. I'm not like if you decide not to buy this because of that, that's fine. I respect that.
And more power to you.
Yeah, and like especially if you donate that money to charity, even more power to you. Fuck yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, like I mean, you comparing this to Metal Gear Solid 5, like it's definitely a similar case, but that one's a little different because that's like one of like the probably 5 or 10 most iconic voices in video game history. Like it's like Charles Martinet with Mario, Master Chief, Solid Snake, and there's probably a few others in there too that people are probably yelling at me about for not saying, but those are like the 3 that come to mind right off the top. So, yeah. I mean, hope it works out, and like if anything, just create the dialogue about our, voice actors and their pay, and maybe this kind of sucks for now, but maybe down the line she makes it better for people down the road, and maybe they make some more money because I always talk about when people I hear people bitch about, they talk about developers crunching. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Just make the game. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I want to be I don't want people to be punished for making video games. And it's like, I kind of want them to keep making video games. So it'd be great if they were treated well and were paid well and treated like fucking humans. Cause we wouldn't like being treated like that.
No, absolutely not.
We're not doing anything like what they're doing as far as like making video games that are going to make millions of people happy. Yeah, it's like we're making maybe a couple people happy a day. They're going to make millions of people potentially happy down the road. So, yeah, just be good people, don't be a fucking asshole. But Gills, let's move on. Oh boy, I don't know how to say this, Gables. Iono?
Let's see. Iono. That's
Iono.
what we'll say.
Okay, we'll go with that. So we had 2 Pokemon trailers this week. We talked about literally during our live reaction for the Pokemon thing. It's weird we haven't seen all the gym leaders. We still have it. But we got the new one. What did we agree on? Iono? I already forgot it.
Iono, yeah.
Iono. We'll go with that one.
If we agree on that one.
So we got 2 trailers. We got her. She's like a streamer. VTuber. Yeah, she's a VTuber. Wow, I hate it. With vampire teeth. God. So we were introduced to her on the trailer we got on Wednesday. Looks like she's like electric type gym leader. And then we had another one on Friday just get randomly dropped with her new kind of, it seems like that's like her like main Pokemon, Belly Bolt. Looks like a fucking Teletubby is what I'm gonna go with. He looks like a fucking Teletubby. He's a a electric type. The Polygon article says he's very cute and they can fuck off. He has an expandable belly. Specifically, the electricity is generated in the yellow circle that looks like a belly button. Gables, I hate everything about these trailers.
Well, I'm not surprised really because for one, it was not in that type of way, but at the same time, I'm not surprised because having watched those trailers this week, it was not only kind of jarring, but also kind of incredibly stupid. I mean, I can understand if they want to go from a VTuber direction, if that fits the persona of the character. But when that popped on 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, I woke up around 6 o'clock. Like, oh, okay, the new Pokemon thing is going to be coming on. I go through, I chill on YouTube. I could not find it for the life of me up until it was like a 3-minute fucking trailer, like a 3-minute Nintendo, like a Pokemon Direct trailer. And watched it. Got my initial reactions of it. It's like, okay, why is she speaking in Japanese? I mean, for all this other time and stuff, all the subtitles and the Japanese stuff, they would have had this like inside of the actual full-on like English, like they have like in the other past ones. I mean, granted, I have no problems with like reading subtitles and everything else like that, but at the same point, I thought it was kind of lazy on their end because they could have used like English dubbing. They could have like done it that way, but the whole presentation of the whole VTuber type of thing and that leading on to a different reveal for her partner Pokemon and stuff, I'm like, that was I can honestly understand that they wanted to try to separate it, try to make people guess, okay, what's this new Pokemon going to look like? Oh, what's this and what's that and stuff. But honestly, I thought it was stupid because for one, it's like you make us wait for like another 3 or 5 minute clip like a couple days later and stuff where you could have just
drop it.
You could have just not just shadow dropped it on your YouTube page or like on Twitter or wherever the hell. You could have just made one video and then just showcase what is the key advantage and like key disadvantages of having this Pokemon Belly Bolt. Now, before the podcast, I showed Tyler a photo that I had saw on Instagram and stuff, and what I showed him of was the beta, one of these beta Pokemon from the old Gold Silver games back around the Game Boy. That Pokemon in general, this Belly Bolt, looks like the beta version for like Politoed back before they initially went with their final design for like Politoed. You can actually see the resemblances, like the belly, the eyes and stuff, which by the way, the eyes on Belly Bolt look like it's nose and like a nose nostrils and stuff. Those are the eyes. The things on the freaking head and stuff, the eyes that are sticking out and stuff, they're like more like a decoy. And that also leads to the ability of this Pokemon in general. Apparently, this is the Pokemon that has like a unique ability or something that could potentially be good based upon what else they introduce in it. I'm not too familiarized with like the ability of it in general, but I've heard people talk. I've actually read a couple different things where people were talking about it. But the overall Pokemon itself, I'm not really too like keen on right now for its design. I'm kind of wondering if the thing evolves or not. But the whole presentation from the Pokemon stuff, the whole introduction of Belly Bolt from Iono, the gym trainer, the electric gym trainer and stuff like that. I mean, VTuber, okay, that's kind of cute, this and that, but the way it was executed, the way it was presented, it seemed rather lackluster and also seemed kind of insulting to some of us where it's like, if you're going to reveal a new Pokemon, don't waste our time waking up 6 in the morning just for some stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Go forth and just have something concrete to say, oh, okay, here's a new Pokemon, here's what it could do. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, or at least like say, hey, we're going to announce a gym leader. Don't just say, hey, there's going to be a new trailer dropping on Wednesday at 6 a.m. Pacific time. Like at least if it's going to be a gym leader, say it's gym leader,
Yep.
I think a lot of people, because like I was like, oh, maybe we're going to finally see the final evolution, stuff like that.
That's what most people thought.
Yeah, because we're running out of time here. Yeah, I just I hated everything about it. I couldn't even finish it, Gables. I didn't even finish it. I couldn't do it. I watched like the first like minute of the first one. I watched like a half of the. I watched like maybe like 30 seconds of the second one. I couldn't do it. It's fucking awful. I hate everything about it. It's annoying. It's like they try to like do the thing that like they try to like. There's a demographic of people that just find content creators, stuff like that, annoying as fuck. I see
Yeah.
that all the time. Like, ooh, just TikTok people. Ooh, YouTube people just go and play video games all day or just talk about things and get money. It's like, yeah, that sounds fucking awesome. And they probably worked their fucking ass off to get there.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and some are pretty annoying. I understand that.
Yeah.
But it just sounded like they just made like the worst stereotype of a streamer, a content creator, or a VTuber,
Yep.
and encapsulated it into somebody with vampire teeth for some reason. The voice acting thing, like whatever. And I'm like, is this voice acting actually in the game, or is it kind of like the trailer we had a couple months ago where they introduced like the school and all that, and we oh fuck yeah, they got like they got voice acting in this, and we found out later on, no, it's not actually voice acting in the game. Or is this kind of like in Sword and Shield where they have the emo goth band guy, and they did like a whole fucking concert, and he was like, it showed him singing, but there was no words, there was no voice acting. They just had this. They played a whole concert the gym leader was a lead singer of a band, and it showed him. It showed his mouth moving, and like he was singing, but there was no voice acting.
Nope.
Is that what we're doing here too? Did they not want? Could they not find somebody for $4,000 to do this? Probably not. I don't know. I mean, whatever. She's gonna be probably a small part in the game. We're probably gonna see her a couple times. And move on. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just like the way they built it and the way it's more. The issue is more like they put out, hey, we're gonna have a trailer on. Oh fuck yeah, okay, cool. Especially after the one we got last week. That was like a 15-minute long video.
Yeah, even though it was mostly over things that we already knew, but
yeah,
still.
but it was more. Yeah, but I mean, they at least introduced us like some stuff that was interesting. It's like this is just like, okay, all right, well this is okay. That's a thing. Definitely glad I didn't like have to like, it wasn't like Gables getting up at 6 a.m. to watch this, or like content creators that got up early on a Wednesday to be insulted.
The reaction of PokeTubers was actually pretty hilarious, especially for guys like Tyrannosaurus Tube and like A Drive and all of those shit.
Send me that video. I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, come on, fuck off. But let's get into some other news this week. Actually, no, I'm gonna break this out into its own little thing here, Gables, because we could probably have like a little mini topic over this. So we've had some weird Gotham Knights updates.
Yes, we have
the last couple days. So yeah. So review codes are out. We know that. We don't. Gables and I were trying to find the embargo for the game. Can't find it. We found basically every other game coming out next week. We found the review embargo for it. I think 11 a.m. Pacific time on Monday for Plague's Tale Requiem.
Yes.
Tales of the Borderland is next Thursday sometime. Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed reviews are slowly coming out. Start as of yesterday. The only other ones we couldn't find was the Mario plus Rabbids Sparks Hope review. But if that comes out Thursday, my guess is Tuesday for that. Typically, Nintendo games are 48 hours out, so that's my bet on that one. Couldn't find anything on Gotham Knights. A lot of discussion about this, but it was just like there were some leaks or something like that, I guess, from the reviews about the performance of this game. Come to find out, on console only, the game only runs at 30 frames per second. There's no performance mode, anything like that. The PC version runs at 60. All that has ray tracing, all the things you want. And then also, this game is like the big push has been about multiplayer and like the 2-player up to 4-player multiplayer. Come to find out, only 2-player is available at launch. The 4-player multiplayer does not come out until November 29th, over a month after the game comes out.
Whew. Not to mention, the console version is more expensive than
so it's
the
$70 instead of $60.
Exactly, yes. A $10 difference. So obviously, the internet took it like they normally do when like something of this type of magnitude ends up happening with a game, and that is not only type of blow it out of proportion, but also they had a lot of fun memes as a result of it.
Yeah, Gables and I, looking for the review embargo for this, stumbled upon the Gotham Knights Reddit page. Had a good time just looking at the memes people were posting.
Oh yeah,
and then also finding the people defending this game already. We already had the defenders coming out.
Jesus Christ, dude! Yeah. I cannot see how you defend something like this, for God's sakes.
I mean, it's it's not like this isn't like a deal breaker, but
No.
it's not a good sign. Is what like
From games that have done something similar to stuff like this in the past, it's never a good sign if you have to go forth and have to explain to your audience, like, why am I
a week out.
paying like a week out? Why am I paying $10 more for something that runs at a frame rate that is inferior to what another version is, $10 cheaper?
Yeah, and we don't have all this. Like, we don't have ray tracing, all these other features. This game better be 4K 30 at least on my fucking PS5.
Yes, and then go forth and explain to your consumer base like months ago that, oh, this can only be done on the PS5 and the Xbox
Yeah.
Series X and S.
Yeah, they
And then
canceled. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
like they canceled those versions for the PS4 and for like the Xbox One and stuff like that, while maintaining that this is for the next gen consoles, PS5, Xbox Series X and Series S. And then when this nugget of news came out and stuff, and then gamers started realizing that, hey, the superior version is pretty much on Steam right now at this moment, as of while we're recording, 60 frames per second, cheaper in terms of cost. There's ray tracing. There's all sorts of these bells and whistles and stuff that should be present inside of the PS5, the Xbox Series, like X and S games. And then you have people that are associated not only just with not like the game itself, in the current game itself, but like just really much defending that, or just blaming that, say the Xbox Series S is the reason why that it's not like up to snuff. I mean, that's complete and utter bullshit in my opinion.
They had the Rocksteady employee tweeting out and like getting like tweeting back at like other people tweeting about the game, about how calling the Xbox Series S a potato. When there are other games, I played multiple games on the Series S that run at 60 frames per second, 1080.
Yes.
So it's I can play fucking Fortnite on my Series S at 120 frames per second. Yeah, lower resolution, but it's possible. So
what's the real potato out of all of this?
Yeah, I think you're the potato. They should make instead of like, you know, Twitter, you start off with an egg as as your picture. Maybe they should do like one for Rocksteady, where you start there and your picture is a fucking potato, and with that guy should just, you know what, make that guy the potato, put his face on the potato, make him the potato. Just, it's one of those things where it's like, dude, just you're not gonna win, just stop. Like, and I can understand being frustrated and upset about, like, it seems like a small thing, but it's like, you're not, the way you're arguing is just not good. You don't have like you're like insulting the people, like the consoles that you're putting these games on. You're telling them bad, but you say, hey, buy my game on this console, by the way, for $70. And like, I have been a defender of the $70 price point, and I always will be for that price hike. But I can, yeah, like, it's just, it's I can understand the argument there a little bit, at least quite a bit, when it comes to, you're putting the better version on PC for $10 less. It's like the revert. Like, people are upset, like the PC versions of like FIFA and NBA 2K and Madden coming to PC are like the lesser versions of like the last gen versions. And like, I can understand the frustration on those for people. It's bullshit. It shouldn't be like that. But at least they're $10 less on PC. It's like, also, and maybe most annoyingly, you're giving PC gamers an easy win over console gamers, and that just irks me even more. It's like, they're fucking annoying enough as is. Do we need to give them an easy win? Do we need to give them layups? Like, the PC gamers are gonna live on this for decades. This will be their one in the holster forever. And that's probably the biggest crime in all of this. Fucking dorks.
Anyways, the point being is, like, we want a level playing field across everything, all the platforms and this and that, you know. But with Gotham Knights and stuff, apparently this is not the case at launch right here. And plus, we have to wait. The ones that do invest in the game, they gotta wait for the features that were touted and advertised with the co-op stuff and like the 4-player stuff. Late October, late November 29th, in regards to having all this type of feature stuff. Now, this information that we learned this past week comes off the heels of that one video circulating and stuff with like freaking, oh god, Batgirl bound to like the freaking Ricky Martin freaking music.
Oh
That
yeah,
that
the
thing, that infamous thing that seems so out of
was
place.
that La Vida Loca? La Vida Loca? Is that
Living La Vida Loca, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
The
like
remix of that,
Janet Garcia had like a video out. She did a preview event, and you
yeah.
play as Batgirl, and they have La Vida Loca playing in the background like randomly. It's like this weird like this is our girl power thing, which if you can like that's cool. Like hey, that's like what you're trying to do here, but it's like that's your
Oh,
pick. Like that just seemed like a business. Like hey,
there's
that's
so
cool.
much
Like
better of an idea.
yeah,
There's so much
like
better of selections.
yeah, like if you can, like that's cool that you do that. Like I like that's cool. Like you have a girl power moment. Like you can have that.
Yeah,
Endgame, Avengers Endgame, one of the coolest like girl power. You know, like hey, we're badass too of all time in all of entertainment. Just watch that scene in the fight in the end. But yeah, that's just like man, that just screams of like obvious publicity. Like the people like that's they just sound like people like people in the boardrooms like what's a cool thing that women will like, and it's like La Vida Loca is Ricky Martin. Yes, they'll love that. I'm like I don't think you know your audience. It's like that guy was popular when I was 8, and I'm in my 30s now.
this is like a fucking Gen Xer trying to come up with some sort of shit that's
This is
so
a
out of
boomer
touch.
coming up with something for for fucking whatever the millennial the I don't know the SpongeBob millennials. This is like yeah. I mean yeah we're the Saved by the Bell millennials. And then my sister who was born in 2000, she's a SpongeBob millennial. Yeah, we're born 89, so we're Saved by the Bell. She's born 2000. She is SpongeBob. But yeah, this is screens of a game that is being rushed out for holidays, and it's really weird because this game was supposed to come out October 25th,
Yes,
and they just bumped it up 4 days for like quietly just bumped it up 4 days a few months ago, and it's like why? And like you come out like with 3 other pretty not big. You're the biggest game of the 4, but just give yourself more competition. I guess you're trying to get out the week because I know it makes sense now as I'm talking because Modern Warfare comes out the 28th. So yeah, I get that. You want to get at least a week out because by the time your game comes out, the reviews probably for Call of Duty will be out, and no one will care about you anymore. So actually, that's smarter. But yeah, this is screens of a game that's being rushed out to meet holiday demand. If you're like, I bet money that end of this year, early next year, there's going to be performance mode. There's going to be a patch for 60 frames per second. And the fact that like the 4-player mode stuff being 5-6 weeks out later, that just screams of a game that's not quite ready to be out yet. I mean, that's you've been pushing multiplayer since the get go when you announced this game in 2020. And yeah, here we are.
The last thing I will say about Gotham Knights and all this stuff that's happening around it is we've seen it before in the past with other games where there's smoke, there's fire, and it's leading the clear signs of smoke that's festering from this freaking gaming project and stuff. The miscues in regards to the specs of the game releases, the lack of information until like a week out, the whole footage circulating upon like these weird ass musical choices and stuff for fight scenes, the whole everything else coming into fray.
Gables, no, that wasn't leaked out. That was a part of the preview event that they allowed these people that played it during the preview to put out. The Vida Loca thing, they wanted you to know about the La Vida Loca thing. They were that proud of it that they put it in the preview for you to show other people.
So that's even more of a sign of the flames like festering from the body right there. So yeah, where there's smoke there's fire, and quite honestly, if we don't see some sort of an inferno from the Gotham Knights, then I am gonna be entirely surprised.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I hope to God this game is good because I really want this game. This game looks really good. Like when they showed it off 2 years ago, it looked incredible. I was blown away by it. I'm like, it's Assassin's Creed, Gotham Knights, but I'm like, hey, as long as you're not like overly bloated, then this could be fantastic. And I really was excited for that. And then like the trailer we had, like the boss fight trailer that we had a couple months ago, was the first time they've showed this game off like a dozen times since then, and it's just been meh to bad since. And maybe it's just the fatigue factor. Like I remember we had this same issue with Deathloop where like we saw it for like 18 months at every press conference, showcase, whatever, and we were so sick of that game. By the time it came out, you and I didn't buy it, and then Black Friday we bought it, and I fucking beat that game in a weekend. I love that game, and the reviews came out, and people were giving it 10s. So maybe that doesn't feel like it though. Where I think people were like so excited about Deathloop, they're just tired of hearing about it. This is just like, man, you guys just have been marketing this poorly, and like like it showed off initially great, and then like the only reason we even heard about the 30 frames per second thing is because some leaks came out from the review process. I hope to God that, the reviews come out next week and this game getting 8. I don't think this game's gonna get 9s, but if it comes out and it's getting like it's in the low 8s, like it's an 81 or an 82 or to like mid 8s.
I'm expecting mid 70s personally.
I'm thinking mid 70s is like that's been my guess for a while. Like mid to me, like I don't think at most, but I think mid 70s is probably where it's gonna end up at. But maybe like I'm hoping for like, a lot of 8s. That'd be great. I hope it does because I keep talking about this. Like this would be like I'm hoping like I always talk about Ubisoft games, style games, and map games are perfect Extra Life games, and I would love for this to come out and then grab it for Extra Life and just play a fuck ton of this game for Extra Life, and then this game be really good. I hope that's the case, but I don't have a lot of faith in it, and I don't know. I hope, if next week we come back to this podcast and we're like, fuck man, it's got an 83 on Metacritic, that'd be awesome. So yeah, I hope for the developers, for the people that want this game, I hope that's the case. It seems like the more we hear about this game, the less likely that's becoming. And I think our thoughts on that review score go down and down and down. But Gables, let's move on here to some other news this week. A couple small things, not a lot. Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming to PC in November.
Nice.
So yeah, a lot of games come out from PlayStation here, like really fast. We just had Spider-Man, I think last month. I believe Sackboy is next week or in 2 weeks, and then this is coming. Or we had Uncharted this past week. Or no, Uncharted is this coming week. I think it's the 19th. So then, then the week after that we have Sackboy, and then a few weeks later we have Miles Morales. So a lot of PlayStation games come to PC in a pretty rapid time frame. But they did say that Herman Hulst, who's like basically like the right hand of Jimbo Ryan, said that basically PlayStation games will have like at least a year gap in between coming from PlayStation to PC, except for like live service games. He said a lot of those will be coming day and day. So we've at least got an idea of like what to expect. We've already seen like leaks of like Returnal, like on Steam. So like, like it's in the back channel. So it's probably coming soon as well. That's been like a year and a half now. So, but they did say they want to make $300 million in profit and profits from PC sales. So I guess it's how you do it. So, just put a fuck ton of them out in some of your bigger games. And then, last but not least here, we have, Final Fantasy VII First Soldier. Remember this game, Gables?
Somewhat. It was the mobile game that we saw. It
was the Battle Royale game.
It was that Battle Royale game. We saw that Square Enix thing months ago.
Yep. And they were like announcing like season 3 or 4 for that thing. It's closing in January.
This
didn't even last a year.
Quite hilarious. We just saw footage of like the whole season 3 and 4 thing being introduced into this game, like in June, yes. And then all of a sudden, randomly this week, they announced that hey, we're going to be closing this in January. Yeah.
So that makes 2 games this year that they've announced that have closed in less than a year. We just had Babylon's Fall. They announced they're closing that in February, less than a year after the game came out. They published that game. I know, obviously, this is a mobile game, but it didn't look bad. It looked like a half-assed decent mobile game, but I'm like, man, like, why didn't you just throw that on like Switch or consoles or something? Like, I don't think it would have made a huge difference, but maybe it could have. I don't know, but like, it actually didn't look that bad. So, um, but yeah. Uh, but let's move on to what we've been playing. Gables, tell me about what you've been playing, buddy.
Yeah. All right. So the better part of this week, I've been playing more so of games on the new N64 that I have. And I went back to playing a game that I had played plenty last week, but I actually finished up the rest of it this week, and that was WCW NWO Revenge. That's such a fun ass game. I've played it off and on for years. I decided to go through and do what I generally do, and that's go through every single one of the championship modes and stuff, and acquire new and like just place new champions in the head of it. So starting off and stuff for like the TV title stuff, I had one of the characters that the developers made, which was Hanzamon, which he's a ninja with all these various like crazy like aerial acrobatic stuff. But that was kind of easy to go through that particular mode and stuff because how the championship mode stuff in WCW NWO Revenge is structured is you have 9 wrestlers. The ninth one is the champion in regards to that, or champions in that regards. So you get to face off and beat 8 other opponents, and then you go forth. You face the champion in the ninth bout. The TV title stuff, I took care of that. For the tag team titles, I had my initial champions, which were La Parka and Psychosis and stuff, and so I went through the whole rigmarole with Aki Man and Shogun, 2 other created characters that were put in the game by Aki Corporation and stuff when they were developing the game. And went through all that. It was so funny because I would initially go forth and like I was having a hard time playing with both of them at the same time because they're so unique in regards to some of their skill sets that when I try to do some double team stuff, my natural default is that okay, let's just do some mini shin kicks or something to the guy's face and stuff and see if I can go and do like a quick submission or two and try to tap him out that way. Turns out I have the game on the normal difficulty, right? It's pretty difficult to try to tap someone out in terms of like a tag team match, especially when like the difficulty is kind of ramped up like a little bit from bout to bout. Like the first bout or two, it's not going to be that difficult. They give you like somebody like maybe someone you can go like build off of or something. But the opponents they give you first and foremost is random. So the random tag teams you'll face, like for example, it's like I had La Parka and Psychosis as the champions, right? I got to face off against tag teams like Harlem Heat, like Booker T, Stevie Ray, and stuff. And obviously the Outsiders, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and stuff was another bout and stuff. But yeah, the tag team stuff that was pretty fun. Try to go through that. I went through the entirety of the United States title scene and stuff with King Tonga, also known as Meng in WCW. That was fun as hell because it's like it was basically me just beating, kicking the shit out of people and stuff, and just using the Tonga death grip and stuff to like not. The thing about his signature move is he'll go for just a blatant choke, right, and he'll pin him for like 1, 2, 3. But it's totally inaccurate to what they initially would have done in WCW, to where if you had the Tonga death grip like put on you or something by like Ming and stuff, any type of jobber would just be like choked out and it would just be like an automatic TKO and they would just go and like be counted out or whatever the fuck. Not counted out, but like it would be like a TKO quintessentially counted in those type of matches. But that one wasn't as difficult, but it was kind of hilarious, like facing off against different opponents and stuff. Like I'm not sure. I think maybe Chavo Guerrero Jr. was inside one of them. Like Alex Wright, I think was another. I think what's kind of hilarious is like Hollywood Hogan was actually inside of one of the bouts and stuff. I'm like, what's Hollywood doing inside here? I thought it was like more of a world heavyweight type of thing only. But yeah, that was pretty fun to do that. Then inside the cruiserweight title, the cruiserweight stuff, I had Dean Malenko. Yeah, Dean Malenko was the champion that I had initially, and so I decided to go through the entirety of it as Ultimo Dragon. Ultimo Dragon, one of my absolute favorite wrestlers back in WCW because of his antics. Him, Rey Mysterio Jr., Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, those core 4 were fantastic in WCW. For Ultimo Dragon and stuff, it was so fun because I basically know his skill set, right? I know his moves, like the Dragon Sleeper. That's one of his default, like, down grapple, like submission holds and stuff. But he has reversal and stuff to where he does this weird thing to where he basically holds onto the back of the opponent's head and stuff like that. That he'll flip himself up and it'll just go as like some sort of like acrobatic like snapmare. or some crazy crap as that. But what's kind of hilarious is I got it down to a T to where I would beat opponents by doing like a by beat down opponents by doing like a crazy ass like dive to the outside, right? To where they get knocked off the ropes, and all of a sudden I go and bounce off the ropes and time it just right to where they're just gonna be getting off the ground and stuff, get come to and stuff, and I just do like a suicide through the middle ropes and stuff, and just knock just basically just knock them out like across the things. But I did that. I did a whole bunch of various stuff. I had good bouts with yeah, I had good bouts with Rey Mysterio, with Chris. Not, no, actually, Chris Jericho was one of the ones that interfered. I didn't really have a chance to face him in the middle of the stuff, but I got a chance to fight against Disco Inferno. I mean, the game is random when it comes to selecting the characters. And the thing about the cruiserweights, you have like two bars or something like that, like two separate bars or something to choose wrestlers from. So it's more like there's anywhere between like 6 to about 13 cruiserweights in the entire game, but most of them be the guys you would expect, like you have Psychosis, you have Rey Mysterio, Hibutu Guerrera, you had Ultimo Dragon, Alex Wright, obviously Disco Inferno and stuff, and like others. But yeah, that was entirely fun. What was most hilarious is I was going through the World Heavyweight Championship thing because I had the champion as Diamond Dallas Page, right? Diamond Dallas Page, excellent wrestler, biggest one of the biggest underdogs in that entire scene and stuff. Definitely a worthy world champion. I decided to go through with one of the creative characters, Dr. Frank. To be perfectly honest with you, throughout this whole entire playthrough, I set everything to Halloween Havoc because of
Hmm.
the theme for the month.
Yeah.
Halloween, in WCW, they'd have this pay-per-view event called Halloween Havoc. It was so fun because there was a unique type of set, this and that. As a matter of fact, I know they're going to be having a Halloween Havoc for NXT this
Oh,
upcoming Saturday, I think, or was it next Saturday?
I think it's. I thought it was Tuesday.
No, 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 no.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
oh, is it its own
Tuesday.
event? I thought it was a.
It's its own event this time
Okay.
around. I
You used
think
to
it's
put it
this.
on. You used to just be like, oh, I'll look it up.
I think it is, but I think this coming Tuesday, it's like they have the whole setup stuff for leading into Halloween Havoc on Saturday. But anyway, I just had the entire set of my championship things take place inside of Halloween Havoc. So, like I was stating, Dr. Frank, the Halloween theme and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, you're right. It's next Saturday.
Yeah, the whole Halloween theme stuff. It was kind of hilarious because my first opponent that I faced off was Hollywood Hogan. And the biggest hilarious thing about it is the special for Dr. Frank is he has the big swing, like a Cesaro type of style,
Hmm.
a big swing. But when he goes through and does the big like swing, he does this big old like this like shout like whoa or something as he's doing all like, the big swing, or like he's doing the whole punches in the corner and stuff for the 10 and stuff, and like this and that though. But one of the moves I kept using over and over again, like with him and also with Ming with the U.S. title run, was there's this move where you can grapple someone in the back, and all of a sudden you can do this big clothesline to the back of their head, just to push, just to hit them and get them all over the mat and stuff. I would set that up in the corner so that way when I have Dr. Frank climb the top rope, he does this like freaking knee drop or something, the one knee where they land this knee and then they just go like somersault over and stuff to try to clear it, like clear up to the next move and stuff. But that was definitely a fun one because it's like I went through him. I actually went through like a whole bunch of other like random wrestlers, including Diamond Dallas Page himself. I mean, the matchup with Diamond Dallas Page, that one took over 10 minutes. Actually, a lot of the matches that I had throughout every single one of these championship runs, they ended up with me almost getting top, like the number one scoring ranks inside of almost near all of them. Ultimo Drago was like number two. I think it was only like maybe a few thousand away from topping that one. For the tag team one, I wasn't even anywhere close to the top five. But with Dr. Frank, in regards to the World Heavyweight Championship, I was number one because I had gotten over 7,000 some odd points or some shit. No, 700,000 some odd points with him. But yeah, you know what? The overall experience with WCW NWO Revenge is like I really enjoy that game. The music scores and stuff, the wrestlers. Yeah, it was a bit more simplistic as opposed to games I would play later, like WrestleMania 2000 and then No Mercy, obviously. Not to mention the Acclaim wrestling games like with Warzone, Attitude, and that stuff.
The Acclaim, yeah.
Yeah. I know what you did there.
The AEW Tag Team Champions. I know what you did there, Gables.
Yeah. But when it comes to that game, there's definitely a reason why it's one of my favorite games on the system itself. But other than that, though, I didn't really play too much of anything else.
Yeah.
But Tyler, what have you been playing?
I'm not gonna lie. I played about 45 minutes of Scorn today. It's on Game Pass. It's that weird penis-looking game. That they had the I think it was the Xbox event in 2020 when they were showing. I think it was like when they had like that third-party Xbox event showing off third-party games coming to Xbox to the new Series S and X. Yeah, and like I remember I was telling you for the show, like it was weird. I remember at the time thinking it was like, oh, it looks like a Doom style shooter game, but a really weird kind of cool looking art style. And then the last couple months now, I watched a couple preview events about a couple preview coverages over it, and other people were talking, oh no, it's more of like a platformer, or it's more of a puzzle solving game. And then some people thought it was like a horror game, like kind of like Outlast or something, or and then no, it's actually just like people. I mean, I don't know, like I know of the game, but I didn't really know much about it. A lot of people just compare it to Myst, and it's literally just a puzzle game, like just a very unique. I mean, it's definitely like graphically, it's very, very pretty, even on the Xbox Series S. Even though I know it's a potato of a console, allegedly. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it looks. I mean, if you like that kind of art style, like this is definitely a type of game that like, if this style, this visual style is aesthetically pleasing to you, and this gameplay style is something you like, then definitely I could see why you really like this type of game. I just the noises and the things going into things, it's just not liking that. And then I'm like playing the game, just not a big fan of that, Gables. Very a lot of weird chills here, and not the good chills. Were like, oh, Extra Life is 3 weeks away. I'm excited. Chills like, oh, like the thought of like a spider crawling across your leg kind of chills, which I think it's probably what they're going for. I don't know. It's kind of like that. It's like, remember like we had that big thing in like the 2000s of like the gore porn type of movies where it's like Hostel and shit, where it's like, it's not like we're not scaring you like jump scares. It's like we're just going to like, or like Saw.
Gross out scary.
Yeah, it's gross out scary. And that's kind of what this feels like a little bit. But it's a puzzle game. And like, yeah, I don't know. Like like I said, I only played for 45 minutes. I don't know. It's just not for me. I'm not bashing the game. It's not something I want. It's not something I'm interested in. Maybe if it was a Doom style shooter, I'd be more interested in, but that's just me. I love Doom. But I mean, that's not what this game is. That's not what they're going for. I'm not going to sit there and knock this game for that. But, yeah, that's all I've been playing. But like, yeah, like this time next week though, Gables, we're going to have a lot of games to talk about.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So, I'm going to have to like call in or something one of these days. To be able to play these games. As I start bringing my Switch with me to work, so I can play on my lunch break. But yeah, that's all I've been playing too. So like I said, like I played more Splatoon. That's pretty much it. Just kind of waiting for this onslaught here. Schedule is cleared for games for these. So yeah. But if you liked all that, please like, follow, subscribe. Look down the show descriptions. You'll see all of our links to Facebook, Extra Life, Twitter, a podcast, Spotify, Anchor, YouTube, all those fun things. Please go down there, click like, follow, subscribe, share, 5-star reviews. Anything you can do to help us out. We really, 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 really would appreciate it if you did that for us. But yeah, I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, play some fun games, and thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk-Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables?
Yeah?
Where's Mario's ass?
Well, Well, I don't know. Well, guess we'll have to figure out that mystery next week.
Yes. Come back next week and we'll have Mario's ass. Bye. Bye guys.
See ya.